Hey singers, welcome back to the weekly warm-up. I'm Laura. Here on the channel, I love to share clear, fun voice education to help you improve your singing and enjoy it more. Today I'm showing you 5 techniques for getting the breath moving and really feeling that movement of breath. This is one of the best ways I know to fix problems with breath, because if you run out constantly, it is very, very likely that counterintuitively you are holding on. You're trying to take as big a breath as possible and hold on to that air and not use it. And when you are singing in that mode, it feels terrible, it feels restricted, the breath tends to feel really tight on its way out and on its way in. And one of the best ways to work on it and to start establishing a healthier breath cycle and being able to actually have that extended breath phrase and then a comfortable released inhalation is to work on getting the breath releasing outward. So I'm going to show you 5 different techniques that I love to use in my studio and in my own singing for feeling the motion of the breath. Let's get into it. The first thing I'd like for you to try to feel your breath moving is to put your hands on your ribs. So not on the waist, but on the bones of the ribs, and I want you to just breathe in and breathe out and feel what the ribs do. So you can probably feel that on inhalation, the ribs feel as though they are swinging upward and outward, and then on exhalation, they return to their original position. This is because every individual rib is in fact jointed at the spine and can swing like the handle of a bucket. And so we're going to really maximize that motion and pay a lot of attention to it using the hands. One more time, breathe in, and now blow out. So in order to feel this happening while we sing, we're going to use a scalar passage. I'm going to ask you to use this same passage for all of the exercises in today's video. So we'll just do a 5-note scale over 10 beats like this. Okay, so a nice scale, and what we're going to do here is when we inhale, the ribs will move up and out, and then as we're singing, I want you to focus on keeping them moving and monitoring that movement with the hands the whole time. Now, some of you are going to say, that's the opposite of what I was taught. I was taught to hold the ribs out. Some of you may even teach holding the ribs out. I understand that there is a lot of popularity around that maneuver in the singing world. It doesn't work for me, but if it works for you, go ahead, keep doing it. If it gives you some kind of agita to hear me talking about it in this way, just skip to the next exercise. It's fine. But if you are someone who has struggled with your breath or who feels uncomfortable with that feeling of holding the ribs out, then please try this. Intentionally move them as we go through the singing phrase. So let's start here, and we're going to sing that scale as we move the ribs the whole time. So first, an inhalation, swinging them up and out. Okay, that felt great for me. I felt like the air was both controlled and free. I didn't feel any of the kind of blocked sensation that I feel when I try to hold the ribs out. Let's try one more of those. Let's go here. Breathe in. The second tip is very straightforward. I'm just going to ask you to sing while you windmill your arms. So if you have some kind of rotator cuff stuff going on, maybe this is not the best for you, but I just want you to circle the arms, don't let them stop, and if you start to feel like you're running out of breath, keep moving them, move them faster. So let's go here. Ready? Here's an alternative to that. You can do fake Tai Chi arms. So I don't know any real Tai Chi, but you can move the arms here in front of the body or in any pattern that feels good to you. Let's go here. 1/3 variation on that would be to take a cloth and to dust the top of your piano. I had a coach in my graduate school who had a beautiful shiny piano, and it was because she would have singers do this exercise with a dust cloth dusting the piano. So you can do this on your dining room table, or you can just mime it like I'm doing. Let's go here. Wonderful. The key with all of these movements is not to move the arms kind of in the rhythm of the music. So we should not be doing The point is that that continuous non-rhythmic movement is showing a smooth, seamless flow of air. So use your arms to get you into that breath motion. Okay, I'm coming up close for this third one because this is where we're going to do SOVTs. Those are semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, those buzzing exercises like or So pick one that you like, and then as you sing the scale on that SOVT, pay attention to the sensation of airflow. They all require consistent airflow to keep the buzz going, and then you can repeat the passage on a vowel, maintaining that feeling. So let's go here. I'm going to choose that raspberry. So then I'm going to keep the feeling of open breath flow and support in the body. Our last two exercises are going to deal with counting. So I think many of you probably were really nervous when you heard me say that I was going to do a scale that would go over 10 counts. I'm sure that there are people who thought, 10 counts? I can't sing a phrase that long. And I just want to assure you, first of all, if you don't know the tempo, a number of counts is totally arbitrary. Like, it doesn't really mean anything about the length of the phrase until you know the tempo. So try to catch yourself when you're having a knee-jerk reaction of 10 beats or 2 bars or a whole note. When you see those things that look long and you immediately start to seize up and take as big a breath as you can and kind of meet your air out in these little tiny quantities, you're already getting into trouble because you're so afraid. So on this one, all I want you to do is we are going to quietly whisper the numbers 1 to 10 at the tempo that we've been singing this scale. Just to, number one, reassure yourself, I can exhale for 10 counts. And number two, to feel what is the appropriate airstream to be able to use my breath over 10 counts. So I think we've been going somewhere around here. So I'm going to whisper count for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I had no trouble there, and I could feel that the breath stream was kind of relaxed, not particularly strong. It wasn't like a windy sensation, but also not like a tiny skinny stream. I was not squeezing in my throat. So if that is our tempo, I'm now going to sing on those numbers, and I'm going to use the same amount of air I just did on that counting. So let me refresh my memory. 1, 2, 3, something like that. So if I'm using that much air, it'll be something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And because I've just done the same length of exhalation, I feel more confident that I not only can make the duration of the phrase, but I know how much air I should be sending during the phrase. The last one is subdividing. Subdividing does so many wonderful things for you. I cannot recommend it highly enough, especially if rhythm is kind of a weak spot for you. But here, all we're gonna do is, instead of counting 1 to 10, we're gonna break up each beat into 4 little mini beats. So this will be, if you've ever done this in choir or in like a music theory class, we're going to use 1E and a 2E and a TE and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a TE. So I'm just going to sing the scale on those subdivided counts. Ready, and 1E and a 2E and a T and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a T and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a... Easy. If you think of the airstream as like one long telephone wire, you can imagine that on the original exercise of just singing like a 5-note scale on a vowel, we've got 10 telephone poles holding up that wire. This time we had 40 telephone poles. So the amount of wire that needs to go between each pole is really small, and that means that you are constantly refreshing and re-energizing the airstream instead of letting it kind of droop and die off. And that kind of dying off at the end of a note is one of the major contributors to running out of air. So use that subdivision. It can really help you to kind of keep the breath going and also to keep the rhythm really, really precise. So it has a lot of benefits. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for singing with me today. I hope that you found something that helped you. If you did, if you have other ideas for keeping the air flowing, do let us know. Even if you're someone who is a rib holder outer, go ahead and let us know. I know that there are people who are very successful with that technique, and if that's you, by all means, keep going. But I did want to offer an alternative for people like me who struggle with holding the ribs out. Before next week, if you really want to hear from me in the meanwhile, go ahead and sign up for the newsletter. There's a link in the description box. And many of the exercises I showed you today have their own dedicated videos, so I put them in the cards and I will link them below in the description. In the meanwhile, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you for practicing.